What's going on, guys? Parzi Masukian here with you on a Red Friday. It is the eve of the first preseason game for the Kansas City Chiefs. And you know what that means? It is time for another edition of the Red Friday Q&A live chat. Thank you for joining me on this Red Friday. Hope you're all having a great Red Friday. Hopefully it's not been chaotic like mine has. But nonetheless, we are here. It is Friday evening. And you guys all know what this is about. Let's chat. Let's ask some questions. Talk to me. Hit me with some questions. Let me know what's on your mind. A lot of things to go over, of course. Have a little bit of an update regarding Rashee Rice and his injury situation. And obviously, we've got a lot to talk about with tomorrow's preseason game, which is exactly 24 hours from now. Well, technically 23 hours and 51 minutes from now, but who's keeping track? No one ever keeps track of these kinds of things, right? No one does that. But we are here. So comment below, ask your questions, and I will get to them as we wait for questions to pop up here. I do want to spend a little bit of time talking about Rashee Rice. So my concern earlier in the week, he was dealing with a groin injury, was not practicing, has not really practiced all week. And my immediate thought was, don't hit the panic button yet, but Xavier Worthy did miss a little bit of time because of a head injury, was in the concussion protocol. He's cleared now. He's back practicing. Should play tomorrow night. Rashee Rice has missed a couple of practices now because of a groin injury. Hollywood Brown has not practiced for more than a week now with the ankle injury. We were told it's minor and that he should come back pretty soon, according to Jordan Schultz of Fox Sports. But we haven't seen that happen yet, and that is a bit of a concern. Oddly enough, no one in the media chose to ask about the Hollywood Brown injury, but in his press conference yesterday, someone in the media asked about Rashee Rice, the severity of his injury. Andy Reid made it pretty clear it's nothing too serious. It's more of a precautionary thing more than anything else. So it sounds like he'll be back to practice on Monday when the Chiefs return to St. Joe. The Chiefs are going to return back to Kansas City late tomorrow, early Sunday, just kind of depends on the time there. But then they go back to St. Joe to practice for 3 more days. It's Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday is the final practice in St. Joe. And then they're going to travel Thursday to Seattle, and they have a very late preseason game. It's going to be 9:00 Central Time. So for all you preseason enthusiasts, which I'm sure all of you are, we're going to have a late night Chiefs game. It's going to be 9:00 Central Time. The last time I can recall a 9 p.m. Central game was 2010. Remember they used to do Monday Night Football doubleheaders in week 1? They haven't done it for a couple of years. They do Monday Night Football doubleheaders, but not in week 1 anymore. But back then they did one in Kansas City. Kansas City got the second game. Usually the second Monday Night Football doubleheader is somewhere on the West Coast. Kansas City requested to have their first game at home on primetime so they could show off the renovations of the stadium there. At the time, they had the Hall of Honor, which has been renovated again. It looks far different now than it did back then. So that's the last time the Chiefs had a game that late. So we're going to 9 p.m. That's not fun. When you're in that adult phase now. Yeah, I mean, if you're in your 20s, sounds like a cool thing. Friday, hey, I mean, what are teenagers and people in their early 20s doing these days? They got nothing to do on the weekend. They'll stay up late to watch a Chiefs game. Yeah, I'll be podcasting that night. That's going to be a lot of fun. I'm sure it's just going to be me and 5 people who are going to be watching the podcast, all of them on the West Coast. I'll definitely appreciate all the viewership that night. I'm trying to think. I know we did the early podcast, the pregame live chat. That was when the Chiefs played in Germany a couple of years ago. Yeah. Trying to think of any other early morning live streams that we've done. I don't think we're going to have any of those this year. Thank goodness. I remember we did a very early podcast in the morning when DeAndre Hopkins got traded to the Chiefs. That was fun. I remember I always check my phone the first thing when I wake up. And the first thing I saw was Adam Schefter's post about Hopkins and Casey. I'm like, no, that has to be fake news. But after verifying it with my source, I was like, oh, okay. Maybe not fake news like I thought it was. But Neither here nor there. What questions do you guys have for me? Ask them below. I already see a couple of questions coming in, and I'll get to more as we go on throughout the evening here. Gotta stay hydrated. Okay. Let's go to this right here. That's not what I wanted. That's what I want. I put out my 53-man roster projection and got a little bit of pushback, which is fine. We're not going to agree on every single thing. Whenever you put together a roster of 53, I guess there's going to be some pushback on these kinds of things. Quarterback, Mahomes, Minshew, pretty clear there unless an injury occurs. Running back, this one got some conversation going. Pacheco, Hunt, Rashard Smith, the 7th round draft selection. And I also put Carson Steele, listing him as a fullback. A lot of people were surprised I did not have Elijah Mitchell on there. Fair enough. I mean, he did just sign with the Chiefs. But I just don't think right now, I don't know if the Chiefs are going to have more than 4 running backs, including Carson Steele. Tight ends, Travis Kelce, obvious. Noah Gray, obvious. Jared Wiley, I know the Chiefs really like him. They drafted him last year out of TCU. I think they want to give him another opportunity coming off an ACL injury. And then Jake Breinenstuhl, who's had some good looks in training camp, especially with the ones whenever working with Patrick Mahomes. Here's my thought, because obviously if you look at wide receiver, there's a very obvious name missing. It's funny, people are commenting, they're like, oh, you think Rice gets cut? I can't tell how much of these are sarcastic comments. I hope they're all sarcastic, but surely someone out there thinks I actually believe Rice is going to get cut. Obviously, I don't anticipate that to happen. This is obviously in response to me predicting that a suspension will get announced sometime soon. When Rice comes back, someone's got to go. I don't think it's going to be any of those 6 receivers. I think the Chiefs really like those 6 guys you see there. So I think they are going to have 7. Mind you, this is provided that we don't have any injuries, which, by the way, Albert Breer put out there, and he was at training camp yesterday. So I think he's kind of a reliable guy for this. But he talked to the Chiefs, and the belief is that Rice will receive a 4 to 6 game suspension. Like I said, I think a lot of people are expecting a half season. Some people want it to be a full season suspension. I mean, just say you don't want to go up against Rice. It's a lot easier that way. But the expectation is that he was going to get a hefty suspension. 4 to 6 games is still a lot. Don't get me wrong. But I don't think that's as big as some people were expecting. And I said for a while, don't be surprised if it's not the amount of games you think it's going to be. A lot of people think it's going to be a half game suspension. Does not seem like it's going to be the case. So my prediction is when Rice comes back, they'll either let go of whoever the 4th tight end ends up being. I think it's going to be Breinenstuhl. Or they let Carson Steele go, depending how they feel about him. Up to that point. Now, with the wide receivers, Xavier Worthy, Hollywood Brown, Juju Smith-Schuster, Jalen Royals, obvious names there. Tyquan Thornton has been doing really well in training camp, and if he does well in these preseason games, I think he's going to have a spot on the team. And then Nico Remigio, I think, is going to be your primary return man, and I think that automatically puts him as one of the wide receivers on this team. For offensive line, I have 10, which is what the Chiefs had last year. Pretty straightforward from left to right. Simmons, Suamataia, Humphrey, Smith, and Taylor. And then your main backups, Moore, Morris, Norzad, Caliendo, and Hansen. I know the Chiefs really like those 2 offensive linemen they drafted last year in day 3, which were Hunter Norzad in the 4th round and CJ Hansen in the 7th round. Hunter Norzad's a good pass blocking guard, or an interior offensive lineman, I should say, because for now he's a center, but I think he'd be well suited as a guard as well if things don't work out between Suamataia and Mike Caliendo. If that offensive line, if that specific spot ends up being like the left tackle spot last year where you go through a carousel of offensive linemen, I would not be surprised if they give Hunter Norzad a shot at left guard. I think for now, the Chiefs want it to be either Suamataia or Caliendo. If neither one of them work out, then I think Hunter Norzad is the guy you have on speed dial. Unless you can get someone off the street that you think would be much better. But I don't know who that would be at this point. Let's go to the defensive side of the football. I have 4 defensive ends and 4 defensive tackles. Some people thought that might be a little short. Okay, fair enough. I mean, you got your 4 starters from that group and then 4 backups. I don't have FAU on there. I think FAU's time is going to run out soon. I really do. And I think he could get claimed by another team. By the way, Sky Moore, I would not be surprised if Sky Moore is back on the practice squad. To go back to the wide receiver position, who is going to want Sky Moore? The Chiefs would be willing to have him on the practice squad because he has some familiarity with the offense. So if there's an injury there, Sky Moore, I think, would be the guy you want to have on the practice squad. If Justin Ross is still available, which he is right now, is crazy enough, but maybe he comes back to Kansas City's practice squad. I mean, you can't just be a free agent. You got to make money somewhere, right? Maybe you come back to Kansas City's practice squad. I don't know. But I do think Omar Norman-Lott, Jerry Tillery, they're going to be an active part of that defensive line, as well as Dana Gelati. Maybe one more defensive lineman, I can see that, but we'll see. Maybe one less linebacker I could see. They had 6 last year. Obviously, the 3 main guys, Bolton, Tranquil, Chanel, no question there. Jack Cochran's been around a long time. Jeffrey Bossa, I know the Chiefs really like a really good draft pick. All of Kansas City's draft picks have been getting high praise from a lot of media experts nationally, especially Sam Munson. He had some high praise for the fact that the Chiefs basically had a home run in this draft. We'll see if that's how it ends up panning out to be. And Cam Jones, I think, is going to be a key special teams guy. 4 safeties, I have Brian Cook, Jaden Hicks, Shamari Connor, and Mike Edwards. Mike Edwards, I'm excited to see back in Kansas City. I thought he did some good things 2 years ago when he was on the Chiefs. And then cornerback, I have 6. Trent McDuffie, Jalen Watson, Josh Williams, Nancy Johnson, Noel Williams, and Christian Roland Wallace. Now, if you notice, I don't have Christian Fulton on there. He just got off PUP this week. I don't know what the future really holds for him. I do have him starting the season off on IR or PUP, however they want to put him. So that's my expectation with him. And that's my 53-man roster with the offense and the defense. Obviously, for special teams, no surprises there. Butker, Ariza, and Winchester. That's who I'm going with. So that's who I have for my 53-man roster prediction. If you guys have any questions about my 53-man roster or anything else about the Chiefs as they play tomorrow night, let me know below. I mentioned some of the guys that I'm very excited to see tomorrow. Of course, I want to see Jalen Royals and Tyquan Thornton. And with Rashee Rice and Hollywood Brown not expected to play tomorrow, I think those guys are going to get a lot of playing time with Patrick Mahomes. I thought they would get more playing time with Mahomes in the second preseason game. I think the second preseason game is where you can expect to see more of the starters. But given that Rice and Hollywood are not going to be available, I think tomorrow night you can expect to see Royals and Thornton play more with Patrick Mahomes, and maybe a little bit with the twos as well with Gardner Minshew. So I'm excited to see that tomorrow night. Obviously, all eyes are going to be on Josh Simmons. And a lot of eyes also on Kingsley Suamataia. A lot of eyes are going to be on that left side of the offensive line. Everyone wants to know, how is that offensive line going to look? And let me quickly go to the Cardinals. Actually, let me text Eddie. I know he follows the Cards very closely. I just asked him if the Cardinals are expected to play their starters much tomorrow. If they do, Calais Campbell and Baron Browning, they're edge rushers there. Josh Sweat, also a part of that group. Akeem Davis Gathers. Yeah. Josh Sweat, who the Chiefs went up against in the Super Bowl. He had a really good Super Bowl in that game. Could have easily been Super Bowl MVP. Those always go to quarterbacks. He's telling me word is a bit longer than expected. The Cardinals are expected to have their starters. Okay, good. I think that's what you want. Because I was watching some of the preseason yesterday. I haven't had a chance to watch anything today, but I'm watching the Bengals. Their starters are going up against the Eagles' backups. It's like, yeah, I mean, your offense should be kicking ass. Not surprising enough, the Bengals' starting defense got their asses kicked by the Eagles' backups. Imagine that. Dude, that defense or that offense better score 50 a game. I mean, if you're getting trucked by Eagles backups, good luck this season, man. Good luck this season. So we'll see. Obviously, we'll have Kingsley Suamataia and Josh Simmons challenged by those starting defensive players for Arizona. And then from the defensive side, yeah, I want to see Omar Norman Lott and Ashton Gelati. I'm excited about those two guys. Noel Williams had a little bit of a tough camp here and there. Jeffrey Bossa has had some moments. I want to see Brian Cook and Jalen Watson. Man, they got cooked a lot in camp with the speed of guys like Jalen Royals, Tyquan Thornton, Xavier Worthy, even Sky Moore had Brian Cook on a play there. So we'll see what happens. All right, let's go to your questions. If you guys have any questions, please ask them below. That is what the Red Friday Q&A live chat is all about. Let's start with Robert. If Rice goes on IR, would it count for suspension? No, it will not. Would love for hey, in an ideal world, you can serve the suspension in the preseason. That'd be great, but no, that's not how it's gonna work. You agree on Elijah Mitchell not making it due to injuries? See, that's what I think that's more of a concern with Christian Fulton than Elijah Mitchell. I just wonder at the end of the day, like, Mitchell's had a solid training camp, but what difference would he make on that offensive backfield? That's what I want to know. Because Kansas City, I think they were last in the NFL on explosive plays from the running backs. And don't get me wrong, Kareem Hunt did some good things. He was just more of a goal line guy when the Chiefs really needed that push there, especially with all the injuries they had everywhere else. FAU is a bust, you think? Yeah, I hate to say it. I think FAU has kind of reached a point where what are you expecting from FAU realistically? Because I don't have any expectations from him right now. I don't. There's a reason why Ashton Gelati got drafted. Listen, if FAU was playing really well, would George Karlaftis have gotten his extension? Maybe yes, maybe not. I don't know. But I think part of the reason why Karlaftis got the extension, well, number one, they really like him. But they also realize, hey, the young guy we drafted a couple of years ago, we're not really too sure if he's going to be around much longer. We kind of want, we also drafted a guy in Ashton Gelati. So Mike Dana, he's also part of the team as well. He got an extension last offseason. So I think FAU's days are truly numbered. Like, this guy's got to have a lights out preseason, because I do think he's slowly seeing the end of his time in KC, which is unfortunate because he is a KC kid, went to K-State, but he just has not been able to step up or do anything. On Instagram, thereal.bn, is Pacheco playing tomorrow? Yes, he's expected to play tomorrow. Wilhelm, 5608 says, for us in Germany, it will be 2 p.m. We'll have a Chiefs party. I've said it many times. Props to all of you guys overseas. You guys always either stay up late or wake up really, really early for these preseason games. And now you get to enjoy it at a decent time, like regular human beings. That'll be fun. AFC West is the first division with 4 Super Bowl coaches. Yeah. You have obviously Andy Reid. You have Sean Payton, who had a lot of success in New Orleans. Only one Super Bowl, but still a lot of wins there. You have John Harbaugh, or no, I'm sorry, Jim Harbaugh. Did Jim Harbaugh win a Super Bowl? I know he's been to a Super Bowl. I don't think he ever won a Super Bowl. And then you have Pete Carroll, obviously, who's won a championship in both the NFL and college levels. He's won a college football championship, obviously. But a Super Bowl? No, he's never won a Super Bowl. He's been to a Super Bowl with the 49ers. But no, it is going to be an interesting year. I mean, the thought is the Raiders are going to start to improve. I mean, I think if you're going to have a coach that's even in his 70s, Pete Carroll's the guy. By the way, the big news from the Chargers, haven't even discussed this yet. Rashawn Slater out for the year with a torn patella injury. That is a massive hit to the Chargers offensive line. I mean, the key is when you have your quarterback, your set quarterback, your franchise quarterback, you got to have an offensive line to protect them. And right now with Slater injured, the thought is probably Joe Alt is going to shift over, maybe. Because right now on our lads, they have Joe Alt listed as a left tackle. Just a couple days ago, he was at right tackle. So Slater, of course, the first round pick from 2021 and just signed that big deal. Now you have Joe Alt, who they drafted last year in the first round, and his father, former Chiefs offensive lineman. He is expected to move over to the left side. Makes a lot of sense. But boy, I mean, that first game in Brazil against the Chiefs, don't you think Spag is going to take advantage of that? I mean, you never want to see an injury, but you also can't ever apologize for what other teams go through. Do you think other teams felt sorry or felt bad for the Chiefs when they dealt with their injuries? No. I mean, you take advantage of that kind of thing. You gotta just go out there and do what it takes to win. And listen, the Chiefs dealt with their injuries last year. They still found a way more times than not. So the name of the game, find a way to win. Next man up. That's the way it all works out. I've said many times, sports injuries they're part of sports in a very unforgiving way. I know a lot of times in sports, whenever a team loses, the fan base will be so quick. Oh, well, if we had this player available and that player available and this player available, it's like, dude, that's not the way it works. That's not reality. Sure, in a perfect world, in a utopia, we can have every single team, have every single player be at full strength and not have injuries. Then we can really see who the best of the best is. But the reality is sometimes injuries can really hurt you sometimes. And some teams are able to overcome it. Some teams can't. That's the way it is. I remember getting a comment last year. When was it? I think it was the Saints game. Yeah, it was the Saints Monday Night Football game. I got a comment from a Saints fan saying, well, you only won because we were missing 10 of our players. I'm like, dude, do you not pay attention to anything? The Chiefs are using a running back off the street. They're without their top two wide receivers and top two running backs. So, I mean, come on, man. Like, you gotta understand every team is dealing with injuries. I still got comments from Buffalo fans about the game, the game where Tyler Bass missed a field goal. Oh, well, our defense was banged up. Dude, you weren't saying that before the game. I mean, before the game, Buffalo fans kept talking about how they finally have Kansas City at home for a playoff game. No one was saying anything about concerns with the defensive line. I remember when the Bengals, they had 3 offensive linemen missing when they came back for that AFC Championship rematch. I heard from Bengals fans, they kept saying, oh no, the 3 offensive linemen, the backups who played were just fine the week before. But then they made excuses about that same thing and the rest, of course. Afterwards, I'm like, dude, you guys were saying the complete opposite. So at the end of the day, this is just one of those situations where you got to just accept the injuries and roll with it. Look at Kansas City, man. They've had their fair share of injuries last year. They weren't beating themselves up about it. They weren't feeling sorry for themselves. They went out there and played football. Next man up. Of course, you never want injuries. No one ever does. But that's the way things unfold sometimes. fair or not. That's just the way it works out. I mean, 2 years ago, didn't the Cleveland Browns prove that injuries are not an excuse? Didn't they win a bunch of games with Joe Flacco coming off the street? That was their fourth quarterback who started a game for them and took them to the playoffs. I know it didn't end well, but man, they got further than a lot of people thought. Then the Browns win 4 awards: comeback player of the year, coach of the year, and a couple of other awards that year at the NFL honors. I mean, that's the way it all works out. A lot of people wrote off the Bengals that same year when Burrow got hurt, but then Jake Browning went in there. He kept them competitive for as long as he could. So I don't know, man. Sometimes you got to find a way around these injuries. The Chiefs did last year. The Browns did as well with the quarterback position. So did the Bengals to an extent, but still, that's the way it all works out. Yeah, I appreciate you, Eddie. Yeah, we'll do an episode sometime. Any new rules this year? Yeah, I mean, there are always new rules. I don't really know what they are. The Chiefs broadcast does a really good job of explaining those things. Obviously, the big one is the digital measurement. That's going to be interesting, just to kind of see them line up the football and use that digital chyron to measure the first down marker, basically. That'll be interesting to see. We've seen that used a couple of times already in the preseason, so we'll see how that goes. All right, I think that's all for the questions today. I'm going to keep it short because I'll be honest, it's been a chaotic day. I'm exhausted. I am ready to relax on my Friday night. I was actually wanted to check out Shedeur Sanders a little bit. I don't know how he did, but I'll check it out on NFL Plus, the replay, because I do want to see that, and that's been a big topic that everyone's talking about. Hey, hope you guys enjoyed this. My name is Farzin Vasugian. Tomorrow, let's see, at about 3 p.m. Central Time, we'll do the pregame live chat. We'll do our nice little live stream before the game, just chat it up. Hopefully we'll get some of you guys there tomorrow. Halftime live stream, we'll do that. And then after the game, we'll do the Chiefs Zone podcast live. Probably won't be anything too long because it is a preseason. I mean, there's only so much you can really take away from the preseason. But we'll talk about that, whatever comes up during the game, during the post-game live stream for the podcast. I'll talk to you all tomorrow. It's going to be game day. Enjoy. Talk to you then.